sent another one?
Don't know. I've no idea. Is it working? Are we there? Viewers waiting too.
You haven't sent it.
Copy link. Try again. Same link.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay. So we working this time? I'm hoping we're working this time. Just gonna check.
yeah, sounds good.
Are we sure?
Yeah.
Okay. This says it's not. Mine says it's not.
It's fine for me.
Check that.
Yeah, see, it's fine for Chris too.
Cool. Cheers, Chris. Did I see Ross in here as well just
You
a second
did.
ago?
You did.
Oh my days. Okay, cool. So we're working. Sorry about that. Recently had some changes to the software that I use to stream, and it probably notices that I don't have a clue what I'm doing. So good fun. But I'll crack on with this straight away, and hopefully everyone's able to get in, because numbers seem down for me on when I try and check the link. It says stream offline, but I'll stop banging on anyway and just get on with it. Cool. So first thing, USD CAD. A lot of people this week have been saying that they're not seeing much opportunity. That's fine. Weeks like this are good. When we start to get these corrections, it's all about identifying some previous levels and seeing if we can find out why you're not getting anything necessarily. So USD CAD, I sent this into the Discord yesterday, and I've got this higher time frame structure. So we've got this daily red structure, this channel that we've got starting to build up. MACD not giving us too much away. We can't really take too much weight on the MACD either, based on the fact that the two highs we've got are near enough identical. Second one is slightly higher, but it's not really anything to write home about. But our price is at a key level. It's at an area of interest for us. So as I was saying to him yesterday in the chat room, when we reach this area that we're at right now, just here, we are either going to break or we're going to bounce. If we're going to bounce, we want to be looking lower time frames to find some form of confirmation that we can see, a lower time frame pattern that shows us we're likely to get that bounce across this level. At the moment, we're also at the 1618 actually of this purple structure just up here. Keeping an eye on that. The 1618 of this structure has been taken. We can get rid of that now. And we can get rid of that now. And we can get rid of this. As I said a few weeks ago, trying to keep my charts as clean as physically possible so that it's easily read. Is that proper English?
Clear.
Who knows? Looking at it now, do we have some kind of structure going on here? I'm going to say no, we don't. Want to see in this first wave that we would be coming down and ideally making contact with the bottom before here. This just gives us a clean fib reading. So if you are looking at something like this, be well aware that the bottom of the structure is obviously, it's not necessarily been invalidated, but it's definitely lowered the probability. And when it comes to slapping a fib on this, we're not realistically going to want to be taking this whole thing if we do get a break of that structure. Instead, we're going to want Instead, we're going to want to take it as conservative. So ideally, we're going to pick the halfway point of that wave and bring it back to somewhere like this. It's not really something I'm interested in trading. What I'm interested in is, can the daily give us the break of this structure, in which case lower time frames looking for that retest, or are the lower time frames giving us an indicator of anything that's potentially going to be going down? Let's have a look. So potentially what looks like an invalidated double bottom just here. However, I wouldn't mind betting this group of price action here in the 30-minute view is potentially making way for some form of a channel. Let's just have a look and see if the shoe fits. I'm still on highlighter tilt. Helps if I change. Bang, that on there. And MACD, what's the MACD doing? We've definitely seen some form of weakening. Across MAs and histogram. I'm not bothered that we've got this gap just in here, because when we take it in relation to the size of the actual channel itself, it doesn't bother me. It's absolutely fine to have that gap. So can we get an entry? Have we got a level? We got a nice. Oh, I need to get my colours changed. I'll get told off. So I'll be looking for longs on this based on the break of this structure, but at the moment, in this time frame, it's not something I'm interested in just buying at this level, and the reason for that is just purely how impulsive our bearish price action is still looking. So if I jump in the 15-minute, there is a level slightly below as well. I'm not too bothered about this. And the reason I'm not too bothered about that is because across our two highs, it's just showing us exactly what we're seeing in the price action. It was a lower high, so it doesn't really represent too much. Can't say I'm fussed about it. Looking for longs on this. I'll jump back on this once we've looked at a few others and see if there's any form of confirmation. 5-minute, a double bottom around here would be really, really nice. Getting some wicks form, which is fine. MACD doesn't seem to be showing signs of weakening at the moment. If we're going to take this low and relate it to this low, at the moment it looks as if the bears are still pushing and still controlling this pair short term at least. So for me at the moment, I'm not necessarily interested in buying this at this level. If we can see a nice rejection, a scoot back down, even a lower low would be really nice. Confirm that with divergence, catch a break of that neckline, carry it to the upside. That would be ideal. Not too bothered either that we've seen this push to the upside. We're in a lower time frame, so everything's amplified. But we'll jump back on this in a minute and see what is presenting. Euro USD, not in the 5-minute view. Higher time frame structure. Marked this up yesterday, so this is a slight change on what I was looking at over the last couple of weeks. See the importance of having these levels. Nice double top. Wouldn't mind betting that that double top has possibly run its course, hence why we've seen this little bundle up of price action just down here. That is obviously the 1618 of this little double top that we've got just there. Then we want to, we're also actually, it's worth noting, we're at the channel center, key level, lower time frame. What have we got going on? Massive weakening across our MACD. Dropped off. And dropped off. So then, have we got a structure here? Right around, as I said already, this channel center. This is what I'll be keeping an eye on. Ideally, I'd like to see another rejection of the top. So another push up, reject, and back down. Allows us to do two things. First of all, we've got our two touches of the top. This would give us a third to confirm. And finally, if we can get this lower low, it's going to allow us to further confirm the weakness of this push down via divergence on the MACD. So in the hour time frame structure, a third touch, further divergence, break the top. It's unlikely I'm probably going to take that in the hour view, but if we get a rejection followed by a break and a retest with a nice confluence of targets based on one of these levels, possibly up here. It's a bit too early for me to bother applying a fib because this could continue to correct for the rest of the week. Once again, I'll try and keep it posted in the chat room. I don't know what anyone else has got on Euro USD, but this 1 hour view structure at the higher time frame channel center is definitely what I'm going to be keeping my eyes on. And just for clarification, this is the 4 hour structure that I've got marked up. Price is also in this little level that I've got marked up. That's just the top of this range, to be perfectly honest. So to see this structure break and see it move away, it's not unlikely considering we've taken out the top of the range. That would be your break and retest, but a nice deep retest would be good because most idiots are just trading break and retest support and resistance or ranges. If we can get that deep retest before we see the price move away, there's a good chance that's going to have stop hunted a lot of people. This pattern could hold the keys to that in terms of giving a nice entry. GU looking good. Okay, so finally got the break of this bottom. Structure has been altered, and last week I think we were somewhere around here. It's not an issue. This is why I always say we've got the lead, we've got the lag. Breakout at the top of this level hasn't led to me taking a trade, therefore I've not lost any money. And for me to then move this, it's not me trying to fabricate the analysis to prove that I'm correct. It is simply me adapting to what I am seeing physically on a screen and changing it in real time based on what is directly in front of me. There's nothing lying, fabricating. You're not trying to prove yourself right. We want to react, and that's exactly what that is. That is reacting to the markets and what is presented to us. It then also has given this lovely little double top, which I did not trade. It didn't give me the entry that I wanted, and at the point in time I wasn't massively satisfied with it as a double top. I think I covered it with might have been Kev on Friday. Kev had mentioned that this being a double top, we've obviously got 1, 2, here's our neckline. My retest, I've slightly moved the liquidity based on the previous price action, but if we grab wherever that center point is going to be, it's not going to allow me either way. My neckline was smack bang on the tip of that bad boy there, and as we can see, we've got our break in the form of this candle just here, and then our retest has failed to come back up to this blue level being the tip of the structure. Ideally we want to see minimum of 50% liquidity filled, and it just wasn't a trade I was interested in taking. Were it a higher probability double top, I possibly would have taken it early had the risk reward ratio allowed me to. So what didn't I like about this pattern, and that is this little bundle up, this build up of price action before we've moved into the double top. We've got a really healthy, really nice, when it lets me move, really nice looking trend that's pushed up into this double top. But then before, and in relation to the size of that pattern, if it had just moved from here up into this shoulder to create this, yes, there's a good probability I'd have taken the trade. But this, I'm not a fan of. And okay, with hindsight, we can look at this and say, but that would have been a great trade. You could have taken it. You would have hit a take profit. Yeah. But as I say to a lot of people, over 100 trades, having this approach and being selective ultimately is what is going to allow you to be in a position whereby you have that positive, that decent risk reward ratio. So now moving into lower time frames. So if we jump into the 30, I think I had it in the 15. We then moved into this kind of ascending, condensing correction just here. Fibs have been slapped on this. We've got a lot of fibs going on. I'll delete them off as we go, but I just wanted you to see kind of the mindset behind seeing a short incoming, and I'm not in this trade at the moment. The only reason I'm not is because the break and retest, I was in bed. You know, I'm not sitting at my computer at 2 o'clock in the morning. Not a massive fan of stop and limit orders, etc. I like to do everything manually. It has its pros, it has its cons. This trade is an example of a con. Where I using a limit order, I could have got in this trade overnight. I'm not, I didn't. Shit happens. So we got the break of this structure. Fibs are applied. High point, low point, and then give it a click again so you can see. Just extend it over. No retest. So we've extended it to this point here. That kind of level that it's broken to break that structure out and take a move away. And we can see where those fibs sit. We've got the 1 just here. And we've got the 1618 just here. Both of which have clearly bared a resemblance to what has happened in the price action over the course of the early hours of this morning, moving into today. Now I'll delete some of this off. So we know that that structure is now exhausted. Doesn't mean there's no more shorts, but it means we can't take a trade based off of that structure, because that structure's hit its 1618. Therefore, it's over and done with. If we then back into higher time frames, we're interested in how much strength does this double top have. That's off the 15-minute. This double top, these are the fib targets. Once again, high, low, point of retest. Our 1 level undeniably had a relevance in the price action that happened over the course of today. Our prices pumped down, scooped sideways, and then smashed through, and we've obviously just gone through the 1618. I am still looking for shorts on this. Ideally, after waiting for a retest back up, or after looking for a lower time frame continuation. That doesn't necessarily need to be a flag. We could use a channel for that, so a lower time frame channel. A lot of people discuss this quite a lot. People are generally either good at flags or channels. That doesn't mean that you need to then spend your time perfecting the one that you struggle with. It just means we maybe need to flip it on its head and approach it from a completely different way. So for something like this, the reason that I'm still cool to wait for a retest before I'm interested in looking for a short, if we get rid of these fibs as well, we'll take that blue level out, just trying to keep it clean. We're now interested in where does the 1618 of this big ass structure sit. So how have we applied the fibs? Let's have a look. We've gone quite simply high, low. Does our retest need updating? Does that need to be moved since we've seen a break? For now, we're going to be going just here. So as we can see at the moment, we are nowhere near this 1 level. So for this to take a retest, for it to see a pullback or a push back up, and then to be looking for shorts, absolutely fine, not a problem. If we jump in the 15-minute view, what can we see going on? We want to start seeing some weakness in the MACD in the lower time frames to confirm that we are likely to get some form of a pullback. Not a massive amount going on. Our EMAs are obviously poking downwards, which is fine. That's showing us the momentum is with the bears. And we've got slight divergence just here, but to be honest, it's minor, clutching at straws. 5-minute view. Again, not really too much going on. I'll be keeping an eye on this in the 15-minute and the 30-minute, wanting to see. Let's have a look, see if I can just demonstrate what I'm looking at. Something like the price pulling down, and then like a channel, which in the 5-minute view is going to be this kind of size. Given a break of that is going to allow us to jump into a trade that we've missed the entry of up here. And as I say, if we look at when that break and retest was on here, that retest, yes, okay, so that's overnight, that's last night, but the actual retest, if we move into a lower time frame, yeah, 1 o'clock in the morning. So like the entries come for that between like 1 and 4 a.m. I am not a robot. I do sleep as well, contrary to popular belief. So CHF JPY, higher time frames, daily. Still got this daily channel marked out. There is some really big moves coming on some of these pairs with these daily structures. When we catch a break, they're going to make way. You can either swing them and just swing them down to the target, or you can do what me and Tel kind of have, like an infusion of the way that we will trade them. Tel will generally just swing them. She'll enter them in the daily or the 4 hour and trade them down to their targets with a set tolerance. If you get a 4 hour continuation or a reason to scale in on the 4 hour, she'll take that as well. What I like to do is catch these trades. So say, for example, if we can get a break of this daily structure and we get a nice retest, I'll try and get an entry on that daily break and retest. But then we know that the higher time frame direction is to the downside. By the time we've taken that structure out, we know that our price is going to want to come and fill this gap to wherever our fib levels are. Always playing with those fib levels. So if we've entered up here, we've got all of this space in the 5, the 15, the 30, the hour and the 4 hour to scale positions in. Had a great one on USD CHF last year, was a 4 hour channel. The 15-minute view gave way to about 4 smaller trades on its move down. So it's just a simple process of trading the exact same stuff in a lower time frame. Rule of thumb for me, doesn't need to be for you, is going to be if I've taken an entry up here and then I get a scale in position here, I cannot enter this trade unless this original entry is risk-free. Because if I am entering and it's not risk-free, this trade is no longer 1% risk or 2% risk. It becomes 2% risk or 4%. You're doubling your risk exposure. So for you to be able to scale in, it makes sense to make the first entry risk-free. And then that way, it's leveling it out. It's still the equivalent of only having one trade. If it wants to scoop all the way back, you are only going to lose on one trade, not on two. So sure, you can look at it and say, oh, but I would have had profits if I'd banked it. That's part of trading. This is why we have the fib levels, so that we have set targets that we can push and trade to, and there is uniformity across the board. Sure, those levels change. Some are close, some are far, some get hit, some don't. That's the reality of it. But it gives us that structure to know that we have targets, and at that point, that is when we shut the door and we walk away with the bag. CAD-Yen. Got a couple of people that have messaged me about CAD-Yen, marking it up. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to make this fit, but a couple of people are looking at this as a channel and wanting my opinion on it. Now, we are either going to need to ignore a considerable amount of price action down here, or we are going to be ignoring a bunch of impulsive levels throughout this structure's formation. So the question that you need to ask yourself when you're looking at a channel, it doesn't mean there's no trade if it's not, but the main question you want to ask yourself, is it truly parallel? If it's not parallel, then don't use the parallel channel tool, because all you're doing is trading to levels that may or may not exist. There's a good chance that they don't. If we're marking something like this up, the structure that I'd be interested in is probably going to be not even that. I see no real relevant, possibly this, but it's early days, and it's early days because we've only got 1, 2, 1, 2. For this to mean anything, we need to get the rejection at the top, we need to see it pull back, and we need another rejection down here which pushes us up. This is going to be pushing us in. If this plays out, that's pushing us into the summer. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're going to mark structures up like this, you can't expect to mark a structure up on a Sunday afternoon and think by Wednesday next week that you're going to have the trade. It will give you levels that you can use for lower time frames, But the whole point of, because I'm banging on now, but the whole point of what I'm saying here is, if a structure is not parallel, then do not apply a parallel channel tool. Instead, focus on the impulsive price action. We can ignore all these little kind of bits. None of this is clearly a part of the structure. We've scooped up from a trend, pulled back, and then moved up. So for me, what I'm interested in is that move, and that move, then this move, and then potentially this move. We're cutting out all of the noise. We're ignoring this. We want to ignore all of this noise in the lower time frames. Because by the time you've finished, you'll end up with lines absolutely everywhere. Instead, we want to try and get that price action encased within a larger or a bigger picture. So for me, and as I say, it is early days. Have we got a parallel channel just there? Don't think we do. Going conservative on the fib on that, purely because the size of this pattern in relation to the trend that's pushed us into it. I know we're in a bullish trend, we can see that from back here, but the size of this pattern in account with this trend is pushing its luck. That does put us at the one level here. That's a shame. There's a big push out. Nice first wave. Okay, so the fact that this is not the tidiest structure, I'd want to have seen some more touches across the bottom. So we've broken in, we can see that first wave, that's fine. But then we've just kind of ridden up the channel instead of creating any form of clear structure of the channel. Now we know that it's very rare you're going to get a perfect channel, but ideally for a double top, double bottom, we want to find a trend that we can find a break of, or a channel that it sits within that we can then confirm the weakness of that channel. This has got a considerable amount of liquidity in the neckline, and although we've got a lot of wicks in this neckline, in this time frame, we need to seriously ask the question of, is this neckline truly impulsive? It's taken like 2 bounces there, another bounce, it's grabbed strong liquidity. Generally on a normal double top, 50%, you've got 2 ways. You could either take this here, or you could be looking to take it on this retest. For me to be interested in this, and what I'll be watching on this, I want to see this level taken out. I want to see that level pushed through again and scooped back. We need to confirm that this liquidity is in fact going to give us what we want, and as much as this as opposed to this. MACD is looking good. There's no upper structure, I don't think. Nope, we're good there. So I'll be taking out 91644, looking for shorts. 91359 and 91190 are going to be my targets for that. But as I say, it hinders on this area here. GBP CAD, this is one that I think it was Chris sent this over to me. 4 hour view. I'll keep this one short and simple. I'm sure people want to get back to their day. This channel structure is much better. MACD, still looking like we've got some bearish strength, but we are starting to see signs of it fade out. Further confirmation would be great, but what we do need to be careful of in the day view is going to be this. Doesn't necessarily mean too much at the moment. There's no real push into the move. The MACD did die off. There's no trend for us to be able to, there's no price action. We can't really, that's not relevant to anybody, so there's no point in applying a trend to that. Nothing coming further back. So now we want to see where would targets for this sit. It's possible the channel could get dirty, and by dirty what I mean is in the day view we've got a bunch of wicks sticking out, and in the 4 hour view we might have a bit of price action poking here or here. If I'm being perfectly honest, first thought looking at this, for a start, when you've got a conflicting piece of analysis, one structure is saying one way, one structure is saying the other way, my rule of thumb is I don't get involved unless it's possible for both of them to play out. So for example, on a scenario like this, the daily structure with the break of this level is saying that we're going to be looking for shorts. So if we can scoot back up and the 15-minute view is going to give us a rejection of this channel top, sure, I will short. On the other hand, I'm just randomly typing stuff in. On the other hand, if we scoop up and break out and come back here, I am not going to be looking for longs based on the break of this channel because we have that daily neckline to compete with. And it's very unlikely, not impossible, let's say we do get that break, for the double top to still be active, this 4 hour channel needs to break, and it needs to ideally start coming back down before the close of play in a 24 hour period. To expect that to break, scoop up with news it's possible, it's very unlikely. I'd be more interested in confirming a rejection just here and carrying it back down, and then seeing that it wants to give another bounce and maybe make way for another short. Higher time frame, less noise, more reliability. Both structures are looking good. Generally, as I say, rule of thumb is if two pieces of analysis are conflicting, the way that I deal with it is I just don't get involved. I completely step away from it unless it's possible for both trades to play out. I'm going to start cutting down my watch list and making these sessions shorter at the request of you guys. I mean, I can't even see how many people. It still says viewers waiting, so I could literally be sat here talking to myself right now. I have no idea. If I am, great, I'll still be able to put this in the vault. If you're watching this in the vault and you weren't able to watch the live, drop me a message and let me know, because I need to know about these issues to be able to rectify them and make changes to the software and the hardware, etc., to be able to accommodate for you guys being able to watch it live so you can ask questions. If you've got questions about any of these setups, drop me a message and let me know. Start sharing your stuff in the Discord. The guys that are sharing stuff in the Discord are the guys that are seeing results. You are not going to become a trader signing up for a course and then not getting involved. It's literally that simple. If you want me, all you need to do is send me a message. I will gladly oblige. Tel is exactly the same. If you want Tel's input instead, drop Tel a message on Discord. She will happily help in any way that she can. But if you're struggling for help, or you're struggling and you need help, I can't give that help unless you tell me you're struggling with something. So tell me what other stuff. I know you guys want videos based on lower time frames. So the stuff that I've discussed here in terms of finding those higher time frame structures and then confirming a rejection in a lower time frame, I will get that as a video put in the vault. There was a couple of other things that were waiting to get put in the vault as well. I will do them as soon as possible and get those over. Still running the sessions as well, so I need to juggle my own trading, running the sessions, etc. Get a notification in Discord until 12:06. Okay, I don't know when I sent it. Let me see if I can check, mate. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, so that's like a full 20 minutes after I'd sent that, mate. Thanks for letting me know though. Okay, so I still got to play around with the software and make everything a little bit more efficient. Thankfully, my trading balance is not dictated in any shape or form by my ability to use OBS and YouTube, etc., etc. Well aware that I need to make improvements in that side of things to streamline things, make it a bit quicker. You don't care, you just want to see the trade setups. Got questions, fire them over, just ask. And I hope everyone has a great